Excited here on GKW to welcome in our next two guests because not only are they stars in AEW, they are stars of the new AEW All Access show, which you can catch after Dynamite on Wednesday nights on TBS. Please welcome in Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D., and Adam Cole. So let's just start with the show. You guys are two of the more front-facing folks in AEW already. What was intriguing about, kind of lifting up the curtain and letting fans into your lives even more with AEW All Access?
I guess because it's something that I would love to watch as a professional wrestling fan. That's something that I think would be super intriguing and interesting. And you always want to know what you're not supposed to know. And in professional wrestling, you're not supposed to know what goes on behind the scenes. And I think that's really kind of the selling point for me, is to be a part of something that fans are gonna find entertaining.
Yeah, for sure.
Adam, for you, what was it like sort of diving into that? I feel like you sort of have reality TV experience with being the elite and going through all that. So what was it like jumping into this world now?
This was actually really scary for me. So generally, for the most part, when it comes to my private life, I am pretty private. So I was unsure if I wanted to do this even in the first place. But then when this career-threatening injury happened, I was sitting back and thinking about all the support that I had from so many of the fans who had no clue what was going on with me. And I felt like it was really important that I got to document and showcase that story to the fans who have been so supportive. So I'm so glad that I did it. The first few days, it was interesting always having a camera in your face, while at the same time wondering if I was ever going to wrestle again. That was pretty challenging. But as time went on, again, this show captures the ups and the downs, and you're going to get to see the real me.
You got to cut that very impassioned promo when you did return, kind of announcing, this whole thing, that your match was going to take place right before the first ever AEW All Access. And you did, you mentioned the fans and how supportive they were. How supportive was everybody in your inner circle, Britt included, to help you get through what was, as you've described, a very scary moment in your life?
Yeah, I was going to say one of the biggest questions I get asked is what did I learn the most from doing this show? And it is the unbelievable support system that I have. Again, Britt was by my side every single step of the way. I don't know if I would have gotten through it without her. And on top of that, my family was so incredibly supportive. My friends, the love and support that I had from that inner circle was vital. Was absolutely vital, because generally I'm a pretty optimistic person, but this was a low point for me in my life. Wondering if the 9-year-old kid who had a dream of being a pro wrestler, wondering if that was over at 33 years old was a very tough pill to swallow. So without them, I don't know if I would have gotten through it. I'm so thankful.
Britt, on the flip side of that, what was that feeling like for you a couple weeks ago to see him in the ring actually getting to wrestle again?
I was terrified. I was watching in the back on one of the screens with the Young Bucks, and we were kind of all just like holding our breath every time he hit the mat. Like, oh my gosh, is he going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? It's scary. It really is, because when you remember, professional wrestling is inches away from something terrible happening, something going terribly wrong. And when, with his injury, you just realize how precious it is and how precious life is. And it puts everything into perspective.
Yeah.
Adam, you made your AEW debut the same night as Bryan Danielson. Were you able to ever talk to him and kind of draw on similar experiences about trying to work your way back after suffering some pretty serious injuries?
I was. And again, when I talk about the people who were incredibly helpful, Bryan Danielson absolutely was one of them. Again, considering what he went through. And on top of that, he reached out, which I thought was so kind and so thoughtful of him, because he understood in a lot of ways what I was going through. So yeah, Bryan was incredibly resourceful and very, very helpful to me in my recovery process.
Britt, when it comes to this show, I think it's giving people a peek behind the scenes that it isn't just a character about you being a dentist. You are a dentist. What is that like when you have someone come in and they recognize you, like, wait, didn't I watch you on TV last night? What are some of those experiences like for you in the office?
Well, it's never accidental. They're never like, oh, I see you. They know exactly who I am, and that's why they're coming in. It's definitely probably the most challenging part of being a dentist for me, because they don't make classes on, or courses on how to handle being a famous wrestler in a dental office and having fans come to your office. And it's hard. It really is hard because you want to respect the fans, and I appreciate them and I love them more than anything. But that's not what the dental office is for. The dental office is to treat patients and people that need help and need care, not autographs.
Why is it so important to you to keep the practice? Because again, like being a professional wrestler is a full-time job, as is having, being a dentist. Why was it so important for you to have both of those things in your life?
Because I worked so hard to get to where I am in both careers, and dental school is something. It took 8 years to be a dentist, and I put so much time and energy, and it was so hard for me to balance both training to be a wrestler and going to dental school. And just to close the door on that would be, it's something that I'm not ready to do, just because it's still new to me. I've only been a dentist for a few years now, and it's not something that I'm sick of. I still love it, and it just comes down to I put way too much into it.
Adam, for you don't have a dentist office for fans to visit you at, but what are some of the weirdest places you've had people hit you with a bebe when you're just walking around unexpectedly?
Oh,
Oh,
my
man.
goodness. I mean, the one that sticks out fresh in my mind is I was in an airport using the restroom, and someone decided to yell it out while I was in the bathroom.
No.
So yeah, I've had some weird locations before, but I think in the bathroom has got to be the weirdest. That's got to be the weirdest.
There's come on, people. There are rules. We're in a society. Like let the man do his thing, and whatever. He's walking around to the airport, hit him. But let's kind of keep that out of the bathroom at this point.
Right.
Britt, you've been with AEW since the beginning. So now to add this show, what's it been like for you to see the company grow from one show in Dynamite to adding Rampage on Friday night to then adding this behind the scenes show and a stadium show that's coming up? What's it been like for you to see this company grow as quickly as it has?
There's a lot of pride, and I'm really proud to be a part of this and be like what I consider the foundation of this company, because I was here from day one. I was on the first All In when there was no AEW yet, and it kind of was the precursor to AEW. And I signed with AEW before there was no TV deal yet, and we didn't know if we were going to be in these huge arenas. And now for the second All In announcement to be at Wembley in the UK, that's so surreal to me. If you would have told me back in whatever year it was when the first All In was in Chicago that I was going to be doing a second All In Wembley, I would have told you were out of your mind, because it's something that you don't think is a reality until it happens. And then you think, well, of course it's a reality. That's why I signed up. This is why I work so hard, is for moments like this.
So sort of along those lines, do you ever step back and just sort of realize what you've accomplished as one of the pillars of this company that continues to grow? When do you step back and be like, oh yeah, I have accomplished that?
I don't think it's something, because we're never satisfied. We're never happy. We always want more. You're always chasing the next thing. And I think that's really the key to success, is to be never satisfied. But on top of that, you do have to give yourself a pat on the back when it's deserved. Because we're all our own harshest critic as is, but you need to be proud of yourself too. So
with the excitement around Wembley, it's hard to imagine them having a card without you two on it. What are matches? Who do you guys want to face inside a huge stadium, large crowd at Wembley Stadium later this year?
Well, what's exciting for me is there are so many guys that I want to step into the ring with at AEW that I haven't had the chance to wrestle yet. And when I think about all these different possible matches, like a Sammy Guevara or a Darby Allin, or even a Jungle Boy again, or something like Jay White, or something like Kenny Omega, or maybe even something like MJF for the AEW World Championship. I don't know. There's a lot of different possibilities, but I know whatever I'm involved in at Wembley, I want it to be special. And my God, I cannot wait for this show.
Same for me. There's no one I wouldn't want to wrestle at Wembley. Just to be a part of the show and part of the whole process it's so exciting.
Whose match is going to steal the show? Whose match steals the show at Wembley? Is it going to be you, Britt, or is it going to be you, Adam? Who's stealing the show?
Mine. For sure mine.
First.
Okay.
I know we've talked a lot to some AEW wrestlers on this show, and they always talk about the locker room and how they learn from the dirt sheets. How apparently it's happening in the locker room. You work with a lot of your friends now. On the positive side, what is your favorite part about the AEW locker room?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The camaraderie for sure. Again, being able to, because for the longest time, when me and Britt first started dating, we were in like a long distance relationship. And then for years, I worked for another company. So we would really barely see each other lots of times. So now to be able to travel with her, share a hotel room, pass her in the hallway, even if it's for 10 seconds, is amazing. On top of that, again, I have so many of my friends there: Matt and Nick Jackson, Kenny Omega. The crew there is just unbelievable. These are guys that I've known for years and years and years of my life. So being able to see them again, spend time with them, laugh with them, it's wonderful. It's amazing.
Another big show for AEW is going to be Forbidden Door. And with New Japan, Britt, they're adding now women to their roster. How much hope is there that now we can see more women's matches as part of these Forbidden Door pay-per-views?
Of course, and that's all the women's division wants, is we want to be included in these huge moments, these huge shows, these huge cards, and there's no reason now that we shouldn't be and won't be.
From a wrestling standpoint, what do you two learn from each other in terms of wrestling in the ring?
For me, I constantly feel like, because me and Britt really communicate a lot in regards to pro wrestling, whether it's pitching different ideas or different thoughts that we both have. Whether it's, I would like to think that I've helped teach Britt a lot, but I can also say that she's done the same for me. And even like one specific example is like presentation of what I wear to the ring. For years and years and years, I wore very similar kind of plain stuff. I still liked it, but still there was the stuff that Britt wears is so spectacular and stands out so much that now, as time has gone on, I'm starting to wear more intricate jackets and trunks and knee pads and things like that. So I think she's really helped my presentation quite a bit.
Yeah. And he, something that I think everybody in the professional wrestling world would say about him is he's just able to adjust to anything and just go with the flow, and nothing throws him off his game. And that's something that it's admirable. It really is.
All right, before we get you out of here, what's been the career highlight in AEW? What's the one that you're trying to chase and get that high back again?
I'll tell you what, for me, right off the bat, and it's one that just happened. Being able to return to the ring after 9 months, after months of thinking I was never going to wrestle again, being able to have that match against Danny Garcia with the support of that audience, to be able to hug the love of my life in the middle of the ring afterwards and have confetti fall down. I mean, that was a fairy tale moment for me. There's nothing I love more than pro wrestling. And when you think it's gone, it's very, very scary. So the fact that it's back now, I mean, my God, could not be happier.
Mine's kind of tied. So when we went to Pittsburgh and I defended the title for the first time in Pittsburgh, it's the first time defending the title in front of my family, in front of my friends. It's in Pittsburgh. It's literally in the building directly beside the dental school that I spent 4 years at. That was so surreal, because that's something that's what I worked so hard for, in that exact building. So that was really cool. And it was so special. And then also being the first ever women's main event for Dynamite, having the lights out match, and just being a part of something that so many people were proud of and so many people were talking about, just having a moment where you're really making a difference in the history of professional wrestling and of women's wrestling. That's something you always want to chase. You want to be remembered.
Britt, Adam, thank you so much for the time. I feel like AEW's on a roll. Can't wait to see what you guys have in store on Wednesday nights, not just with Dynamite, but of course with AEW All Access, TBS, Wednesdays right after Dynamite as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both.